The Seattle Seahawks have a new starting quarterback in Sam Darnold. What is he going to bring to the Pacific Northwest in Klint Kubiak's offense? We got a special guest to break it all down here on a bonus edition of Locked On Seahawks.
You are Locked On Seahawks, your daily Seattle Seahawks podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, 12. This is Corbin Smith, host of the Locked On Seahawks podcast, your daily Seahawks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Glad to bring on a self-prophesized 12 supporter on Blue Sky, Luke Braun, the host of Locked On Vikings. And look, I've been looking forward to this since the Sam Darnold signing became official, because I know that you follow the game from a X and O standpoint like what I do. And so I always enjoy conversations with people who are like-minded on that front. And also knowing that you've gotten to cover Klint Kubiak before as the offensive coordinator in Minnesota as well. So
I reached out to you to do this. I think people should know that I was like, hey, Corbin, let me on your show. I need to talk to Seahawks fans.
Yeah, that was something I don't know that I've ever had that happen actually before. I've never had somebody like, I want to be on your show, but
I need to cape for this guy.
Yeah, you know, either what's wrong with this guy, or hey, he's a closet Seahawks fan. No, anyway, so
that's wrong Vikings podcaster. You got the wrong Vikings podcaster who's a closet Seahawks fan.
Oh no, let's not go down that. Let's not go down that pipe. Anyway, Luke Braun from Locked On Vikings, and we're going to talk Sam Darnold. And as you just mentioned, listen, I got to start with this. You reached out to me after the signing happened and immediately said you were a big fan of this move for the Seahawks, and that you were looking forward to defend Sam Darnold because, as you mentioned, on Blue Sky, there seems to be a very large contingency, and maybe I deserve some blame for this. And not that I have been anti-Sam Darnold, but obviously some of the people in Seattle call me the official leader of the Geno Smith fan club, which I think there are a couple other people that definitely probably deserve that honor over me, but nonetheless, maybe I deserve the blame for people being anti-Sam Darnold. But I know that you're really excited to come on here and defend, but I just want to ask straight up, first off, why are you a fan of this move for the Seattle Seahawks? What can you tell 12s that they are getting that makes this move an exciting one for the franchise?
So I think Sam Darnold matches the identity of the Seahawks very well. And there's two things I mean by that. One, superpowers in the rain. Okay. The fable of his pro day is going to be on every single broadcast. And very notably, the game last year in the rain was one of his best of the whole season. His game in Seattle. I don't know what it is. Something about the rain. Sam Darnold gets superpowers. I don't get it. You don't get it. You don't have to get it. It's the Seahawks. And the second thing is that it's the Seahawks. It's chaos. And Sam Darnold is chaos ball. You know the whole thing? The Seahawks have never played a normal game. You ain't getting any more normal games. And that's good. That's what the Seahawks want to be. In actual seriousness, when you have a quarterback who can make every throw to every level of the field, there is not a single blade of grass that Sam Darnold cannot access with a throw. The accuracy has gotten so much better than it was when you remember watching him melt down on Monday Night Football all the time in the New York Jets. This is a different guy, and the word that kept coming to my mind when I was covering him all year was opportunism. He is an incredibly opportunistic quarterback. That makes him a little greedy. And I think some of the turnover-worthy play stuff that he did, which is less than he got the reputation for. I think anytime you see an interception, it goes viral because it's Sam Darnold. But it was not that bad. And it was worth it because he was going for explosives all the time. And those explosives would more than make up for when it would turn into a turnover. So there is a specific play I'm going to cite for this, and it's the one I cited all season long. Week 2 against the 49ers. I'm sure you're going to enjoy watching bad things happen to them. Where the safety, the deep safety, makes one wrong step. It's cover 3, I think, or cover 1. It's middle of the field close. There's one wrong step. He waits just one extra beat before he goes into his back pedal because he's already lined up 25 yards deep and he's reading and he's playing it a little aggressively and he's just a scotch too aggressive. We got a post running to Justin Jefferson. And it's call it like a Mills concept. You've got a post, you've got a dig underneath it. And you're trying to cut that safety in half. The dig, wide open. I mean, the dig is a 30-yard gain, made to order, easiest throw of your life. Darnold throws the post, 99-yard touchdown. Against middle field closed, post, 99-yard touchdown. And it's because of probably a half a step worth of time. And he sees that opportunity and he takes it. That's a different dude. That there is something very special about that. And that was the moment for me where I was like, oh my God, this is not just going to be like a weird bridge year. This might be something. And then they won 14 games. That is the Sam Darnold that you are getting. Now, how to unlock that? I think the spirit of the coaching is just as important as the scheme. You need to basically be a guy that looks at Sam Darnold dead in the eye after he throws the worst pick you've ever seen and say, hey, you're good. Change nothing. Go back out there. We're going to dial up a shot play. Like, you need to have the stones to do that. I wrote a piece over at Wide Left, or it was on Substack, about Sam Darnold that was aimed at whoever signed him next, because I could kind of sense that the Vikings weren't going to be that team. And the way to unlock him is to embrace risk and embrace chaos. So I need you as Seahawks fans, I need you to ask yourselves, are you good at embracing chaos? Because if you are, you're going to be fine.
Seahawks MO for like the last 15 years.
Hey, do you have any experience with chaos, with completely insane stuff, ups and downs and swings? If you have learned how to handle that emotionally, you're going to be fine.
You mentioned the risk assessment, and every time that I watched Sam Darnold this past season, and even the Seahawks game, there were a number of times where I'm sitting in the press box as a Seahawks reporter, and I'm going, no, yes, on throws that he was making, because he can do it. And the play that jumps out to me, I've now had a chance to go back and watch 6 of his games. I'm working on a big film breakdown for Emerald City Spectrum. But that touchdown that won the game, and everybody talking about
climb the pocket up to Justin Jefferson one.
Yeah.
Ungodly, insane. Oh my God, what a play. To see that, to find it, and then to climb the pocket, manage all that muddy stuff. Yeah, it's like just an orchestrator of chaos. He thrives in chaos.
And a lot of people say, yeah, the safety took a bad angle. And yes, he did. But like that throw
he found it
flat out ridiculous. And that was the throw that, going back and watching the tape, like he holds onto the ball longer than what Geno Smith did. So that is going to be something the Seahawks are going to have to try to navigate a little bit there. But
yeah, I did want to mention that because that is an O'Connell thing. So here's what Kevin O'Connell saw. He saw a dude with a good deep ball, Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison, and went, okay, well, we're going to play shot plays all the time. So we're going to lean into this explosiveness. So there's 4-step drops, there's 20-yard routes. You're waiting 3 seconds before anything even breaks off. He had to hold the ball that long.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like every single time I'd watch on TV and I'd be like, oh my God, he's holding the ball forever. Sam Darnold, come on, speed your brain up. And then I'd go watch the tape and I'd go, actually, he kind of threw that when he was supposed to. So that might be more of a Vikings thing that might not come with him. That might be, we might watch JJ McCarthy hold the ball a long time too, because Kevin O'Connell likes to be aggressive. He embraced the risk. And guess what? It turned into, like Sam Darnold shattering every career high he ever had.
Yeah, that's a really good point because it's different styles of offense. And I want to lean that into Klint Kubiak now because you obviously, as you mentioned, you had a chance to cover the Vikings with Klint Kubiak as the offensive coordinator. You covered him when he was the quarterback coach. And Kirk Cousins put up some very good numbers in the 3 years that he worked with Klint Kubiak. But it's interesting, and I've got more film study to do on this, but you go back and you watch Kubiak's offense, and then you look at what Kevin O'Connell's doing, and they've kind of made their own branches off of the same school of thought, but the personnel groupings are much different. Like Kubiak is much more like Kyle Shanahan, and then O'Connell's going to be more branching off, obviously coming from the Sean McVay system, where there's some concepts that are similar, but the personnel groupings are a lot different. So I'm curious. You mentioned how the offense is, is set up differently than what it's going to be with what it was with O'Connell. From Sam Darnold's perspective, where does he fit into this offense with it not being the same scheme as what he had in Minnesota?
So I really want to hope that Klint Kubiak's going to do something different than what I saw from him in Minnesota. What I saw from him was very quick game oriented. It was very short. It was very much about trying to keep time low, because guess what? We had a cruddy O-line, like a really cruddy O-line. And Christian Darrisaw wasn't even starting to start that year because he was a rookie. So we had really one good player for a lot of the year, and then a rookie Christian Darrisaw that was not the guy he is today. And their solution to that problem was quick game, was to just live in quick game and say, you know what, you guys, the ball's going to be out quick and you can jump set and it's fine. For those who don't know, a jump set is when you kind of step into, you'll say you want to kind of knee the guy's crotch basically, and you want to kind of step into him, step forward into the pass pro instead of going back. It's a really risky way to play it, but it kind of can't lose fast. It can only lose slow, and it'll lose slow a lot, but on quick game, you don't care. So you can jump set a lot. There's actually a CoachTube clinic from Andrew Janoko about this from that year that I think you can watch for $25 on coachtube.com. So they use that a lot. They found a way to work deeper shots into quick game, namely with go balls. When they found a matchup they liked, if they saw Justin Jefferson one-on-one, they liked the matchup. They would just they'd call it a green apple look, and they would tell Kirk Cousins, if you see a green apple look, abandon the progression and take it. McVay schemes call it an alert. But it's the same idea. Hey, you like the matchup? Screw the play I called. Throw a go ball to Justin Jefferson. And a ton of production on that for Cousins. They were so in tune on those go balls, ton of great plays. I remember a couple of specific ones against the Chargers and Packers that year in back-to-back weeks in particular, if you want to look at that. But the thing is, I don't think that works for Darnold at all. I think Darnold did a great job with the longer developing stuff, in particular because he was really good, and this is going to be controversial, at overcoming bad O-line. Pressure would come, and he was so good at the little pocket movements. I think the gold standard of the league at this is Joe Burrow, the way he navigates the pocket just a little bit, just move a little bit here or there and rescue the angle. He was so good at rescuing pockets and at buying the time he needed to stay in the pocket for the 4 seconds he needed for that damn play to develop. So he has a reputation as a guy that needs a good O-line, and the Seahawks don't have a good O-line. No, he's going to make your O-line look better. He's going to make those guys look better than they are. And if you want evidence of that, the Vikings graded out as an average O-line. They just replaced two of the three interior guys for money. And those guys were all under contract. They didn't let those guys walk. They're going to straight up cut dudes and be trading dudes for, 7-6 swaps. They were not happy with those players. They were trying a rookie 6th-round tackle at guard because they were so unhappy with the guards. But Darnold made them look okay. And I genuinely think it's going to make whoever you guys got starting on O-line. I know a lot of Seahawks fans are mad about missing out on the guys the Vikings signed and Drew Dalman and all those guys. He is going to make them look a little better. And I think what Klint Kubiak and to a greater extent Mike McDonald has to do is trust him to do that. You signed him 3 years, $100 million. You got to place faith in him, even when it feels insane to do that. If you can place faith in him, say, hey, Darnold, you're going to have to do this, and you're probably going to have to do it under pressure. And you just have to close your eyes and send it. And it's going to work better than if you try to turn him into Daniel Jones.
That leads into a really good closing question here, because you've talked about the scheme. You've talked about where Sam Darnold excels, maybe some areas where he can get himself into a little bit of trouble. Seattle doesn't have DK Metcalf anymore. They don't have Tyler Lockett anymore. This has been as transformational of an offseason as I have seen. And that includes when they had Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner gone a few years ago. This is as transformational as offseasons as you're going to see. Looking from Seattle's standpoint, you just said that he's going to make the offensive line better with the way that he plays. But how do you approach the rest of free agency and upcoming draft, trying to maximize his talents in terms of personnel, knowing what the Seahawks still have and what they don't have on the roster anymore?
Yeah, so if I'm the Seahawks, obviously, any line you can get your hands on, you're going to be happy with that. I think should be a big target in the draft. In terms of pass catching, I want a burner. I want to take the top off. I want to really stress defensive backs. And I don't even need a guy that's the best deep receiver. I want a 40 time at least. Somebody who can be fast enough, because all you want to do is make a safety make a decision. If you can have somebody that can run a post and never get thrown at, like Phoebe in that one episode of Friends, that works. Because all you want to do is make it hard for him to decide when he's going to turn tail and run, when he's going to turn his hips, when he's going to open the gate if you want. or when he's going to drive down on something. One of the things that Darnold took a lot of advantage of here that you're not going to have in Seattle, maybe Jackson Smith-Njigba takes the next step, but they had this Justin Jefferson gravity thing. There's a great play. It's a quarters play against the Packers in the second to last week of the season where Justin Jefferson runs a little dig, a quarter safety comes down on it, like trying to pick it off, and lets a post in behind him, and it's a wide open touchdown. That's the kind of stuff that Darnold did a great job of punishing. Anytime you got your eyes just a little bit too much on Justin Jefferson, you take one little step out of place. Darnold will be able to hit you over the top. So somebody that can force you to do that, even if they're not they don't have to be Justin freaking Jefferson to do that. Just 40 times, just get a dude that can run fast, and a safety's got to get behind him, because even if you're not a great receiver, if you're running fast, that's a touchdown. Even if you're Aldrick Robinson. So if you can do that, it can put that stress on defensive backs, and eventually they're going to crack. They're going to make a mistake. Even if it's a small one, that can turn into a big, long, explosive touchdown. Obviously, it'd be nice to have more protection if that's an option, right? Do what you can there. But to be honest, I'm going to say something more controversial too. I don't hate Diggs. I feel like coming off the Achilles, or was it Achilles or ACL, like one of those bad injuries. Obviously you got to check on that. You got to be okay with that, but the teams can get better medical information than you and I can. So let's just assume for now that you're comfortable with that. If you are a veteran that has a lot of experience generating those explosives, can do stuff after the catch, can throw a bubble screen. If your line is just having a total meltdown today, they can't block anybody, we just got to go to the screen game. Okay, he can be an offense for that, right? Depending on what he's still got. I don't hate that. But I'm also looking at, I actually liked a lot the idea of Westbrook-Akine for you guys. He just signed earlier today. But somebody like that, like, you don't need to do the craziest thing. You don't need to go trade for Jamar Chase. No, just get somebody that can put a little bit of stress on defenses and let Sammy cook.
Let Sammy cook. Oh no, we went from.
I shouldn't have said that. No, it's Wet Sam. The thing is Wet Sam.
Really,
Wet Sam is the slogan. Okay, we need to get Sam wet. We need to keep him wet. Whether that's rain, whether you're wetting him on the side, keep Sam wet.
Oh God, keep Sam moist. You just started a movement.
Keep him moist.
Hey, he threw the ball really dang well in that game with the rain in Seattle, and look, it does that a lot in Seattle. So that might be the under the radar thing that Seahawks fans need to be thinking about here, entering the Sam Darnold era. He's Luke Braun of Locked On Vikings. I'm Corbin Smith, Locked On Seahawks. As always, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Seahawks or Locked On Vikings on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast 5 days a week. A special thanks to Luke for jumping on. And thanks to the 12s, we'll have tons of free agency madness. Hopefully the Seahawks will actually do something tomorrow coming up on our Wednesday show. And I know Luke's got like 800 signings to break down on.
Oh, yeah. I've already had 3 live shows within 12 hours of each other.
So, yeah, you've had plenty of activity with the Vikings, including stealing guys the Seahawks apparently wanted as well. Special thanks to the 12s and Vikings fans. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and thanks for tuning in. Go Hawks, go Vikings.